Welcome back to the Metabolic Revolution podcast. I'm Dr. Steve Prosciutti, and today we're going beyond food. We're going beyond supplements. We're going beyond everything you've been doing right that still isn't working. Because if you're eating perfectly, your temperature is rising, but you still can't sleep, still feel anxious, still have cold hands and feet. The problem isn't your food, it's your light, and it's destroying your thyroid every single day. Real quick, this podcast is for educational purposes only. It's not medical advice. Always consult with your healthcare provider before making changes. Now let's talk about the invisible metabolic poison surrounding you right now. This is episode 22, and we've covered a lot of ground so far. We've exposed how PUFAs destroy your cells, revealed energy as the foundation of everything, shown you the gut metabolism connection, rehabilitated sugar as friend not foe, freed you from cholesterol fear, explained why salt restriction is killing your metabolism, and so much more. Today we're expanding your worldview, because here's the truth I've learned after years in this field. You cannot fix your metabolism if you're living in light toxicity, and almost everyone is. Buckle up. This episode is going to change how you see your entire environment. Let me tell you about a patient I'll call Michelle. She came to me after 18 months of doing everything right. She'd found the bioenergetic approach, eliminated PUFAs, was eating adequate carbs, drinking her orange juice, taking her temperature religiously, and her temperature was rising from 96.8 to 97.6. Real progress. But Michelle couldn't sleep. She'd fall asleep fine, then wake up at 2 a.m., heart racing, mind spinning. During the day, she was anxious despite no obvious stressors. Her hands stayed cold even though her core temperature was improving, and she had this persistent brain fog that wouldn't lift. "I don't understand," she told me. "I'm doing everything you teach. Why isn't it working?" So I asked her about her typical evening. She worked from home as a graphic designer. After dinner, she'd edit photos on her computer until 10 or 11 p.m. Her office had bright LED overhead lights. She'd scroll her phone in bed. Her bedroom had a streetlight right outside the window, and she kept a small nightlight on because she was afraid of the dark. I said, "Michelle, you're poisoning yourself with light." She looked at me like I was crazy. Light? Poison? That sounds like something a conspiracy theorist would say. But here's the thing, and this is critical to understand. Ray Peat identified light as one of the most fundamental protective or destructive factors in biology. He said that red light exposure may be the most fundamental protective factor in nature, and that deficiency of it may be the main driver of systemic aging and disease. Let me flip that around. Exposure to the wrong light at the wrong time may be among the most destructive things you can do to your metabolism. When I explain this to patients, I use this analogy. Think of your body as a sophisticated power plant that evolved over millions of years. This power plant has two modes, daytime mode and nighttime mode. During daylight hours, it runs at full capacity, burning fuel, producing energy, building and repairing. At night, it shifts into restoration mode. Different systems come online, repair crews work, inventory gets reorganized. For millions of years, only one thing triggered the shift between these modes: the sun. When the sun rose, warm red and orange wavelengths hit your eyes and skin, signaling daytime, full production. When the sun set, the absence of those wavelengths signaled nighttime restoration mode. Then about 150 years ago, we invented artificial light, and in the last 20 years, we flooded our world with blue-enriched LED light from screens and energy-efficient bulbs. Your ancient power plant has no idea what to do with this. It's receiving daytime signals at midnight, so it never fully shifts into restoration mode. The repair crews never get to work properly. The systems that should be rebuilding are running in emergency mode. This isn't theory. A massive study published in JAMA Network Open tracked nearly 89,000 adults for almost a decade. They wore light sensors that measured their actual light exposure, not just what they reported, but what they actually experienced. The results were stunning. People exposed to the brightest nighttime environments had up to 56% higher risk of heart failure and 47% higher risk of heart attack compared to those with the darkest nights. Let me repeat that. 56% higher risk of heart failure from bright nights. This isn't about sleep duration. This is about light exposure specifically. The study found that those in the brightest environments had significantly higher rates of coronary artery disease, atrial fibrillation, and stroke. And here's what's fascinating. Daytime light exposure had the opposite effect. Bright days were protective. Dark nights were protective. It's the combination that matters. Your body evolved for bright days and dark nights. We've inverted that completely. Dim indoor days and artificially bright nights. And your metabolism is paying the price. Now let's get into the mechanisms, because once you understand the biochemistry, you'll never look at your phone the same way again. There's a region deep in your brain called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It's your master clock. This little bundle of neurons receives direct input from special cells in your eyes that detect blue light wavelengths around 480 nanometers. These cells don't help you see. They don't contribute to vision at all. Their only job is to tell your brain what time it is based on light exposure. When these cells detect blue light, they send a signal that says it's daytime. This signal suppresses melatonin production and promotes cortisol release. Makes sense, right? During the day, you want to be alert, energetic, ready for action. Cortisol helps with that. Melatonin would make you sleepy, so it stays suppressed. At sunset, when blue light fades and red wavelengths dominate, these cells send a different signal. It's evening. Cortisol production decreases. Melatonin rises. Your body prepares for restoration. But what happens when you stare at a screen at 10 p.m.? That screen is blasting blue light directly into your eyes. Your brain receives a "it's daytime" signal. Melatonin gets suppressed. Cortisol stays elevated. Your body stays in production mode when it should be in restoration mode. And here's where it connects to everything we've discussed. Cortisol suppresses thyroid function. We've talked about this before, but it bears repeating. Cortisol reduces the conversion of T4 to T3, the active form of thyroid hormone. It promotes conversion to reverse T3 instead, an inactive form that actually blocks thyroid receptors. So elevated cortisol from light exposure at night directly impairs your metabolic rate. Think about what this means. You could be eating perfectly, getting all the nutrients your thyroid needs, but if you're chronically elevating cortisol through nighttime light exposure, you're sabotaging your thyroid function anyway. And it gets worse. Remember what we discussed in the estrogen episode? Cortisol and estrogen often rise together. High cortisol promotes estrogen production and impairs estrogen detoxification. So nighttime light exposure doesn't just suppress your thyroid. It can contribute to estrogen dominance too. I had another patient, Lisa, who had classic estrogen dominant symptoms. Heavy, painful periods, breast tenderness, mood swings. She'd been doing the raw carrot salad, supporting her liver, all the things we discussed last episode, but she wasn't getting better. Her job? Night shift nurse. She was exposed to bright fluorescent hospital lighting from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. 3 nights a week. Her circadian rhythm was completely inverted. Her cortisol pattern was backwards, and her body was producing estrogen like crazy because it was constantly stressed. When she finally switched to day shifts, not easy, but she prioritized her health, her symptoms improved dramatically within 2 months. Same diet, same supplements, different light exposure. That's how powerful this is. But there's more to the melatonin story. Melatonin isn't just a sleep hormone. It's a potent antioxidant. It protects your mitochondria from damage. It regulates inflammation. It supports immune function. When you chronically suppress melatonin through light exposure at night, you're losing all of these protective effects. Research has even linked low melatonin to increased cancer risk. The World Health Organization classifies shift work involving light at night exposure as a probable human carcinogen. One study following over 464,000 adults found that those exposed to the brightest nighttime light had 55% higher risk of thyroid cancer than those in the darkest areas. So when I say light toxicity is destroying your thyroid, I mean it quite literally. The light environment you live in directly impacts your thyroid function, your stress hormones, your sex hormones, your cancer risk, and your overall metabolic health. Let's talk specifically about blue light, because this is where modern life has gone completely wrong. Blue light itself isn't bad. In fact, it's essential during the day. Morning blue light exposure helps set your circadian rhythm, boosts alertness, and improves mood. The problem is timing and source. Natural blue light from the sun comes packaged with the full spectrum, including red and infrared wavelengths that have balancing effects, and it comes at the right time, during daylight hours. Your body evolved to handle this beautifully. But artificial blue light from LED screens and screens is different. It's isolated, high in blue wavelengths without the balancing red and infrared, and it comes at times when your body expects darkness. This is a mismatch your biology cannot adapt to. A study on fruit flies, I know, fruit flies, but bear with me, exposed them to blue light for 10 to 12 hours daily. These flies had more than 50% reduction in lifespan and developed neurodegenerative changes in their brains. The researchers found that blue light damaged not just their eyes, but their central nervous system directly. Light was penetrating into their brains and causing cellular damage. Now, fruit flies aren't humans, but the researchers specifically warned that their findings have implications for humans, given how much blue light we're exposed to from screens and LED lighting. They noted that a person working in a modern office easily gets 8+ hours of blue light exposure just from fluorescent and LED lights overhead. Add computer screens, phones, and TVs, and you can exceed the exposures that cause damage in the study. Here's what I find particularly concerning. The study found that susceptibility to light damage increased with age. Young flies were more resilient. Older flies were more vulnerable. This suggests that the cumulative damage from decades of artificial light exposure may be accelerating aging in ways we're only beginning to understand. Ray Peat talked about this decades ago. He noticed as far back as his college days that fluorescent lights gave him massive headaches. At the time, doctors laughed at him. Now we have research confirming that artificial light, especially blue-enriched light, has biological effects far beyond what mainstream medicine acknowledged. I want to be clear. I'm not saying you need to live like a hermit, avoiding all artificial light. That's not practical or necessary. But you need to be strategic about your light exposure, just like you're strategic about your food. Think about it this way. You wouldn't eat an inflammatory PUF-A-loaded meal and expect no consequences just because everyone eats like that. Yet most people flood themselves with metabolically toxic light and never question it because everyone has screens. The solution isn't complicated, it's about timing. Blue light during the day, great. Blue light after sunset, problematic. Red and warm light in the evening, protective. Darkness for sleep, essential. I'll give you the specific protocols shortly. But first, let's talk about the other side of the equation, the light you're not getting. Here's something that drives me crazy about modern health advice. Everyone talks about avoiding bad things. Avoid blue light, avoid screens, avoid this, avoid that. But few people talk about what you should actively seek. And when it comes to light, what you should seek is morning sunlight. This is the free thyroid optimization that nobody uses. It costs nothing. It takes 10 minutes. And it might be more powerful than any supplement you could buy. When morning sunlight hits your eyes, not through windows, actual outdoor sunlight, it triggers a cascade of beneficial effects. Your circadian rhythm gets anchored. Your cortisol properly spikes in the morning when it should, which means it will properly decline in the evening. Your serotonin production increases, which later converts to melatonin, improving your sleep that night. Your body temperature regulation improves, your alertness and mood increase, but there's something else happening that most people don't know about. Morning sunlight contains specific wavelengths in the red and near-infrared spectrum that directly affect your mitochondria. Remember cytochrome C oxidase. It's a key enzyme in your electron transport chain, the final step in ATP production. This enzyme has photoreceptors that absorb red and near-infrared light in the 600 to 1000 nanometer range. When it absorbs these wavelengths, it works more efficiently. Your mitochondria literally produce more energy. This isn't fringe science. There are now over 5,000 published studies on photobiomodulation, using specific wavelengths of light to improve mitochondrial function. The research shows benefits for everything from wound healing to cognitive function to thyroid health. Ray Peat often recommended using red light directly on the thyroid area to boost its output. The red and near-infrared wavelengths penetrate tissue and stimulate the mitochondria in thyroid cells, potentially improving thyroid hormone production. A recent study had people look at a deep red 670 nanometer light for just 3 minutes daily. Within 2 weeks, participants over 40 showed significant improvements in vision, specifically in color contrast sensitivity, which declines with age due to declining mitochondrial function in the retina. The light literally recharged their cellular energy systems. Another study showed that 15 minutes of red light exposure on the back reduced blood glucose levels by nearly 28% after a meal. The mechanism? Enhanced mitochondrial function leading to more efficient glucose utilization. The researchers noted this could have implications for diabetes management. And here's what I find fascinating. Cognitive studies using near-infrared light delivered to the brain showed significant improvements in memory, brain processing speed, and motor function in healthy adults. The light was literally improving brain energy production. Now, you don't need expensive devices to get these benefits, though they can be useful, especially in winter. Morning sunlight naturally contains these healing wavelengths. This is why outdoor workers, despite more sun exposure, often have lower rates of many diseases than indoor workers. They're getting daily doses of beneficial light wavelengths that indoor workers are completely deficient in. But here's the catch. You can't get these benefits through glass. Windows filter out most of the beneficial wavelengths. You need actual outdoor exposure. So here's your first action item. Get outside within 30 minutes of waking for at least 10 minutes of direct sunlight, not checking your phone while standing outside, actually being present, letting the light hit your eyes and skin. Don't wear sunglasses during this time. The light needs to reach your retinas to set your circadian rhythm. On cloudy days, still go outside. Cloudy daylight is still dramatically brighter than indoor light. Even a cloudy day provides 10,000 to 25,000 lux compared to typical indoor lighting of 300 to 500 lux. Your body can tell the difference. If you work indoors, position yourself near windows when possible. Take breaks outside. Eat lunch outdoors. Every bit of natural light exposure during daylight hours helps anchor your circadian rhythm and improve your metabolic function. Now let's address the elephant in the room: your phone, your computer, your TV, your LED lights, the devices that dominate modern life. I'm not going to tell you to throw them away. That's not realistic. But I am going to tell you that using them without mitigation after sunset is actively harming your metabolism every single day. Let me explain what happens when you scroll your phone in bed. Your screen is emitting high-intensity blue light directly into your eyes from about a foot away. Your brain's circadian sensors detect this as midday sunshine. Melatonin production gets suppressed. Studies show a 2-hour delay in melatonin onset from evening screen use. Cortisol stays elevated when it should be declining. Your body stays in daytime mode, then you try to sleep. But your body isn't ready for sleep. Your melatonin is suppressed. Your cortisol is elevated. So you either can't fall asleep, or you fall asleep but don't get adequate deep sleep because your body hasn't properly entered restoration mode. The next morning you're exhausted, so you reach for coffee. Maybe you skip breakfast because you're not hungry, because your hunger hormones are also tied to your circadian rhythm, and they're disrupted too. You drag through your day, crave stimulants and sugar, and by evening you're wired but tired. You can't wind down, so you watch TV or scroll your phone, and the cycle repeats. This pattern destroys metabolism over time. Chronic cortisol elevation, chronic thyroid suppression, chronic melatonin deficiency, chronic mitochondrial stress, and it all stems from light. Research shows that exposure to even dim light at night, as little as 5 lux, about the brightness of a dim night light, is associated with increased depression symptoms. For context, a tablet screen produces about 40 lux. A standard room with LED lights is 300 to 500 lux. You're not just getting a little light exposure. You're flooding yourself with light at exactly the wrong time. The mental health connection is profound. A study analyzing over 86,000 adults found that people exposed to more light at night had significantly higher rates of depression, anxiety, PTSD, bipolar disorder, psychosis, and self-harm. People who got bright daylight exposure had 20% lower risk of depression. The worst outcomes came from the combination, dim days and bright nights. Your mood isn't just mental, it's metabolic. And light is one of the most powerful regulators of both. So what do? Here's the practical protocol. After sunset, eliminate or dramatically reduce blue light exposure. The simplest approach is orange or red-tinted glasses that block blue wavelengths. I personally use Boncharge blue light blocking glasses. They make high-quality blue blocking glasses that actually block the problematic wavelengths. Many cheap blue blockers only filter a small percentage. You want something that truly blocks the 400 to 500 nanometer range. Change your lighting. Switch to incandescent bulbs in the evening. They emit warmer, more natural wavelengths. Or use candles, or specific red LED bulbs. Your evening environment should look warm, dim, and sunset-like. Not like midday. Use night mode on all devices after sunset. But understand that night mode alone isn't sufficient. It reduces blue light but doesn't eliminate it. Combine it with blue blocking glasses for full protection. Stop screen use entirely 1 hour before bed if possible. Read a physical book. Have a conversation. Take a warm bath. Do relaxation practices. Give your eyes and brain a complete break from artificial light. Make your bedroom truly dark. I mean completely dark. Cover all LED indicators, those little lights on devices. Use blackout curtains or a quality sleep mask. Remove or cover any sources of light. Your body can detect light through closed eyelids, so even dim light in your bedroom affects melatonin production. This might sound extreme, but remember, your ancestors slept in nearly complete darkness for millions of years. True darkness isn't abnormal. Our chronically lit environments are abnormal. You're not being extreme by seeking darkness at night. You're being normal. Let me bring this all together with a complete circadian protocol. This is what I give to patients who are doing everything right nutritionally, but still struggling. Okay, here's the morning protocol. Within 30 minutes of waking, get outside for 10 to 15 minutes of direct sunlight. No sunglasses. Let the light hit your eyes. Don't check your phone during this time. Be present with the light. This anchors your circadian rhythm for the entire day. During the daytime, maximize natural light exposure. Work near windows. Take breaks outside. Eat lunch outdoors when possible. The more natural light you get during the day, the stronger your circadian signal and the better you'll sleep at night. Okay, here's the evening protocol. As the sun sets, transition your environment. Put on blue blocking glasses. Switch to warm, dim lighting. Begin your wind-down routine. The goal is to mimic what sunset would look like. Warm orange and red tones, decreasing intensity. Okay, moving on. Here's the pre-sleep protocol. 1 hour before bed, eliminate screens entirely if possible. Take your bedtime snack. Remember the milk and honey we've discussed, or cheese and fruit. Take a warm bath with Epsom salt if you like. Do your breathing exercises or relaxation practices. Keep lights extremely dim, or use only candlelight. 10. Now, this conversation wouldn't be complete without discussing your sleep environment. Complete darkness is very important. Cool temperature, 65 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. No LED indicators, no phone in the room, or at minimum in airplane mode. If you need a light for safety, use a dim red bulb only. If you wake up, keep orange juice by your bedside. Have a small sip if needed to stabilize blood sugar. Don't turn on lights. Don't check your phone. Don't catastrophize about being awake. Just breathe slowly and let sleep return. This protocol costs almost nothing. Blue blocking glasses are maybe $30 to $50 for a quality pair. Some incandescent bulbs, a sleep mask. That's it. Yet the impact on your metabolism can be profound. Remember Michelle from the beginning? After implementing this protocol, her sleep normalized within 2 weeks. She was sleeping through the night for the first time in years. Her morning temperature jumped another ½ degree. Her anxiety decreased significantly without any other changes. Her brain fog lifted. Same diet, same supplements, different light environment. That's the power of circadian optimization. I want to leave you with something Ray Peat said that I think about often. He noted that darkness itself is a stress. During long nights, if your glycogen runs out, your body enters a stress state, hence the 3 a.m. wake-ups. But he also understood that inappropriate light is its own form of stress. The key is matching your light exposure to your biology. Bright days full of natural light, dark nights allowing full restoration. Your body temperature tells you if this is working. If you're implementing good nutrition but your temperature isn't rising as expected, Look at your light environment. If your sleep is disrupted despite doing everything else right, look at your light environment. If your mood and energy don't match your excellent diet, look at your light environment. In the deep dive episode coming up, Sarah and Marcus will explore the science of photoreception and metabolism in much greater detail. They'll get into the research on how light affects mitochondrial function, the connection between circadian disruption and estrogen dominance, and why typical sleep hygiene advice is incomplete without light optimization. If you're a science nerd like me, you'll love it. For now, I want you to take action. Tonight, put on blue blocking glasses after sunset. Tomorrow morning, get outside within 30 minutes of waking. Make your bedroom darker. These simple changes can shift your metabolic trajectory. If you want more structured support with this, our Energy Reset Essentials course includes circadian optimization protocols as part of the complete metabolic restoration system. For $39, you get step-by-step guidance on implementing all of this alongside the nutrition and stress management pieces. You can find that at our website. And if you're wearing sunglasses every day, blocking the beneficial morning light from reaching your eyes while flooding yourself with artificial blue light every night, you've got it exactly backwards. Flip that around. Your metabolism will thank you. Thank you for joining me for episode 22 of the Metabolic Revolution podcast. Next week, we're going after the biohackers with episode 23, the hormesis deception. If you've been told that ice baths, 48-hour fasts, and chronic cold exposure are optimizing you, prepare to have that belief demolished. Until then, keep questioning everything, get your morning sunlight, and remember, darkness is not something to fear. It's a metabolic necessity. This is Dr. Steve Prosciutti reminding you that light is a nutrient. Use it wisely. Reach out today and let us help you fix your metabolism. Hundreds of others have already proved this works. You're next.